Hi there. What to do if you have Hashimoto's and are experiencing anxiety? Are there nutritional solutions? Welcome. My name is Sarah Peternell. I'm the owner of Family Nutrition Services in Denver, Colorado, and I am a Hashimoto's expert and a Hashimoto's survivor. I'm so excited to be talking about this really important subject today about anxiety and the role that it plays both as a symptom of Hashimoto's and also as basically an outcome of the ultimate hypothalamus pituitary adrenal thyroid axis dysfunction that may be going on in your body, which results in constant and chronic fight or flight responses, which definitely leads to anxiety, both a mental anxiety and a very strong physical anxiety that can just make you feel totally nuts, ruin your day, disrupt your productivity, lower your quality of life, and even interfere with certain relationships or your work. So, being that I have Hashimoto's and was diagnosed in my early 20s, one of the most common symptoms that I was experiencing was a really wide range of uncontrolled emotions. And initially, yes, my doctor told me, well, you just need to take an antidepressant. Okay, that's one solution. And if you're taking an antidepressant or anti-anxiety medication, I'm okay with that too. But what I want you to know is that there are some real nutritional and lifestyle tools and tips that you can start to employ right away so you can start to get the anxiety and the adrenal components of your Hashimoto's under control. And then maybe you can work with your prescribing physician to lower your dose or to reduce completely your medication if you don't like some of the unwanted side effects from the medication. Again, speak to your doctor. This video is not meant to be medical advice, but let's look at some of the ways in which the thyroid gland and the adrenal glands really work together to create this situation or this scenario where both the mental and the physical anxiety can become overwhelming as a big piece of this illness. So the first thing is that what we need to know is that, and I have a whole blog written about this on my website at sarahpeternell.com, feel free to check it out, is that I would say probably 9 out of 10 people who are dealing with Hashimoto's are also dealing with a degree of adrenal dysfunction. They're kind of two sides of the same coin. Now, adrenal fatigue is definitely one of those kind of buzzwords in kind of all of the functional health realms. And it can be hard to assess and measure. And there are tests that you can do to understand if you're also having kind of this corresponding adrenal dysfunction. But typically we can go just based on your kind of anecdotal presentation, how you feel, and also looking at symptoms to understand if this is a big part of it. You see, in this world that we live in, people are super stressed out. I have other videos about the ways in which that stress affects us and really wrecks our health. You can check those videos out as well. But today I'm specifically talking about the ways in which the adrenal dysfunction and the hypothyroidism from Hashimoto's lead to anxiety. So in our stress-filled world, right, we're kind of always living with our foot pressed on the gas. There's really no downtime. There's no break in the action. Our anthropological nutritional ancestors, they also experienced stress, but it was very different. In fact, they would, maybe be running from, say, like a saber-toothed tiger, and ultimately their survival would depend upon them being faster than their predator. But that would be when their body would release an extreme amount of adrenaline, noradrenaline or norepinephrine, and also cortisol. Today, it's almost like we're being chased by that proverbial saber-toothed tiger day in and day out, whether it's work, finances, kids, family, traffic, the pandemic, I could go on and on. Even your own health can cause these stressors. So what happens is when you live in a chronically stressed state and you are not adept at managing your stress or using coping skills for dealing with your stress, then what happens is this constant production of cortisol is creating this constant fight or flight response in your body, and your HPA, your hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, and also your thyroid axis becomes dysregulated. And now your nervous system is involved as well. And it can be very difficult for the body to kind of tame that down. Okay, it's actually something that you have to work at, and almost like an exercise, you have to do some body, mind, and spirit practices to help you resolve these issues. So I want you to think about the adrenal glands kind of like your body's emergency system, okay? And so when the body is under this chronic stress, like I was just talking about, the adrenals are constantly sending out emergency signals. You can think of these emergency signals like the stress hormones, adrenaline, and cortisol. And then over time, what happens is this chronic output of stress hormones will weaken the overall HPA and thyroid axis, like I said, and that will in turn affect the nervous system, the digestive system, the liver, even your brain, and it can start to disrupt thyroid hormone production and create an imbalance in your metabolic system, your metabolic health, also your thermoregulation, your sleep-wake cycles, and your mental health too. So what I see a lot of times is that, especially with women who come to me in my holistic nutrition practice, is that they've been undergoing this intense period of stress. As I said, all of the things that life can bring to us brings these stressful situations. It's often at this time that they may experience some changes in their thyroid health, and they may start to notice that they are actually at the beginning stages of the development of the autoimmune thyroiditis because of the stress that their body has been going through, and now the ways in which the HPA-T axis is really starting to affect all of their different systems in the body. So it's important to know that stress can actually be a trigger, a precursor, and lead to Hashimoto's. The other thing that's really important to know, the second piece of this, is that it's also possible with having Hashimoto's that when that thyroid gland is no longer as functional as it should be, right, in a healthy person, your body relies a little bit too much on the backup kind of battery pack or your backup system of energy in your adrenals. And so over time, especially if you're not taking good care of your body, not taking good care of your health, not taking good care of your thyroid, then what happens is ultimately this secondary gland, your adrenals, will start to burn out as well. So I see this quite commonly among many of my clients as well, where they've had underlying autoimmune, underlying thyroid, underlying Hashimoto's for many years. And what happens is this starts to lead to that reliance on the adrenals for their energy, for their reserve. And now they're dealing with, again, the two sides of the same coin, the Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, as well as the adrenal gland dysfunction or adrenal fatigue. When a person starts to reach this place and both glands are really depleted, anxiety and panic attacks and other autonomic dysfunction can start to set in because the nervous system basically doesn't have a quarterback to regulate the hormones that support these two glands in the body anymore. So here are some common symptoms of the corresponding adrenal imbalance that you might be experiencing in addition to anxiety. You might feel tired in the afternoon, or maybe you're craving certain foods like sugar or coffee or other stimulants in the afternoon, or carbs. You might also be experiencing digestive imbalances like bloating, gas. You might be having loose stools, or maybe you just haven't gone to the bathroom and you're dealing with constipation. Also, you might notice some hormonal imbalances. Ladies, you may start to notice irregularity in your menstrual cycle. And gentlemen, you may start to notice that your libido is lowering and you may be feeling like you're losing some of your muscle mass. You might start to notice that you're gaining a little extra weight around the middle where you didn't have it before, both in your belly and in your back. That can be because of the output of cortisol. And you may also be noticing that you have troubles with sleep, trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, nighttime wakening, early awakening, or just awakening in the morning, even after 7 or 8 or 9 hours of sleep, and feeling like you didn't get any sleep at all, not feeling rested. You may have brain fog. You may be experiencing irritability, anger. You might also notice that you can't focus. You can't do projects or tasks for any length of time without becoming very exhausted. And also, you may just find it very difficult to relax. Take time off, go on vacation, enjoy your weekend, do things that are leisurely and supposed to be enjoyable. People who are dealing with adrenal imbalances, again, it's like they almost always have their foot on the gas pedal until they're out of gas and then they're crashed. There are a couple great books that I really like that are on this subject. And the first one is the book by Dr. Alan Christensen, and it's all about the adrenals. I've used this book many times, not only in my own life, but also in recommending it for my clients. And you can find this book definitely on Amazon, and you can find it in some of your local bookstores. The full title is The Adrenal Reset Diet. And Dr. Christensen, I believe, is a chiropractic physician. I like the way that he explains the different stages of going through adrenal dysfunction. And again, if you want to get kind of a overview, you can read more about the adrenals on my website at sarahpeternell.com in my blog. Now, there are 2 other books that I really like that pertain in particular to the mood components that you may be experiencing if you are dealing with adrenal fatigue, adrenal imbalance, adrenal burnout, and the corresponding hypothyroidism or Hashimoto symptoms. And that book is by a wonderful woman named Trudy Scott. The book is called The Anti-Anxiety Food Solution. And Trudy is a food and mood expert. She's a nutritionist. She's a wonderful speaker. I've heard her give talks. I've had the chance to meet with her in person also at some conferences in the past. And I really like her approach to addressing some of the underlying nutritional deficiencies that may be at play when we're talking about this kind of HPA-T axis imbalance. And then there's one more book I wanted to tell you about as well. That book, here, let me get to that page. That is by an author named Julia Ross, and she wrote the book called The Mood Cure. And hers is all about anxiety, depression, stress, etc. And honestly, if you had each of these books in your home library, if you have Hashimoto's and you are dealing with a lot of the mood symptoms, I think you would get a lot of benefit out of the things that those books have to offer you. But today, I'm going to give you some kind of quick support resources for what you can do to start to kind of rewire your adrenals and your HPA-T axis to get it to come back online, and also to help you with just supporting the overall lifestyle things that will get your body back in balance. Oftentimes we're looking for the magic supplement, the magic pill. What's the one nutrient that I can take to help get rid of my anxiety? Well, it doesn't quite work that way. I always say to my clients, if there's any amount of adrenal imbalance going on and you have anxiety, it's going to take some time because you didn't get here overnight. And so now we're going to have to kind of work our way back through and start applying some of these nutritional and lifestyle principles to help you start feeling better again. So let's go through my list. This would be my list of my favorite daily practices. Remember, they're kind of like exercise. You have to do them every single day to get the benefit, to help reduce anxiety naturally if you have Hashimoto's and the corresponding adrenal gland dysfunction. So the first thing is that you want to make sure you're regulating blood sugar. Make sure to check out my other video about blood sugar dysregulation if you have Hashimoto's, because blood sugar is such a key component to helping to maintain your mood and your kind of stable mood and just your ability to process, think clearly, function, right? So if you're not eating enough, or if you're not managing your blood sugar, or if you're eating too many carbohydrates, refined carbohydrates and sugar, you're going to be all over the place. So the first thing is to understand how to best manage your blood sugar, and I suggest trying to eat within about 30 to 60 minutes when you first wake up in the morning. That can be hard for some people who are dealing with adrenal fatigue because their body may not be sending them signals that they're actually hungry. And so you actually kind of just have to time it. You have to set a clock or a reminder that just says, hey, you need to eat so you can start to regulate blood sugar. And also you want to make sure that whatever you're having in the morning includes some protein. If you're a vegan, you want to look for whole grain, gluten-free, like oatmeal or quinoa, and you want to have that maybe with some nuts and some seeds, some berries. Hemp seeds are really high in protein. You could even stir in a pea protein powder if you want to help kind of boost that up from the protein standpoint, or you could do a smoothie or a shake that includes a vegan protein powder. If you're an omnivore, which I recommend, you can watch my other video that's all about why we need protein if we have Hashimoto's. But I would suggest something like pasture-raised eggs, definitely a nitrate-free bacon or sausage. You could do like a chicken sausage. You could make your own, or you could buy some from the brand Applegate. They make a good organic chicken sausage. And then also some healthy fats like avocado, or maybe just a sprinkle of some Parmesan cheese, and some healthy green vegetables like some sauteed kale, or even broccoli, or having some spinach in the morning. All of these things can really help to balance and regulate your blood sugar with the proper protein, healthy fats, and then of course getting all of the good minerals from your vegetable sources. You're going to want to try to eat like this throughout the day. So that's step number 2, which is eating in the morning and having protein, and then eating small meals similar to that throughout the day. So one of the things that can help most of all with our mood is making sure that we have all of the raw materials that we need to properly make the neurotransmitters and hormones that support a healthy brain and healthy mood. So you don't want to skip meals. You don't want to skip lunch. You don't want to go 5 or 6 or 7 hours between lunch and dinner, for example. It may seem maybe oversimplified to recommend this, but you don't want to skip meals and strain your adrenals. This is just going to make your symptoms worse. So trying to eat about every 2.5 to 4.5 hours throughout the day. And they can just be little mini meals that include protein, carbs, and healthy fats, okay? Now, this is a hard pill to swallow. This next advice that I'm going to give you, tip number 3, is about reducing your exercise. If you are an exercise lover, but you know you're dealing with anxiety, and you think you maybe have some adrenal dysfunction on top of Hashimoto's, please stop killing yourself at the gym. You can watch some of my other videos about the ways in which sometimes less is more for healthy weight management. Because the thing is that our body, no matter how good exercise is for us, it does sometimes perceive exercise as more stress. And the last thing we need to be doing if you're dealing with adrenal imbalances and the resultant anxiety, well, is to put more stress into your body in the form of all of those endorphins that you get when you hop off the treadmill, or you hop off the bike, or you finish a really hard workout. So you need to focus on some of the low impact exercises that you can do easily and that are very gentle on your body. I like to recommend yoga. I talk about yoga with my clients all the time. Gentle stretching, also Pilates, also Tai Chi, walking, swimming. These are the most productive exercises to help restore and rebuild your adrenals and the HPAT axis, and can help to reduce anxiety. Now, if you have anxiety, it can be hard to sit still. It can be hard to just be in a yoga pose when you know it feels so much better to just go, 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 go on that treadmill. You may have to find yourself kind of slowly working into these types of more gentle exercises, incorporating them little by little, and then maybe just kind of relying on more of the lower impact exercises and less frequent intense cardiovascular or intense strength training exercises that could be causing stress on your body. That can be really hard because I know that feels super counterproductive when maybe one of the other issues you might be dealing with is your weight. Or maybe if you're feeling like, okay, well, exercise gives me energy. Yeah, because it's boosting your cortisol, but that only lasts so long. But what it does is it contributes to that overall circadian rhythm and adrenal axis dysfunction in your body. So I'm going to talk a couple more things about some of the lifestyle things, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about some eating tips that you can do. So I want you to create a really good very guarded and sacred bedtime routine. Again, if you're dealing with anxiety, maybe just the thought of going to bed is super stressful because you're like, oh my gosh, it takes me forever to fall asleep, or I always wake up at 2 a.m., or my mind starts racing and it's just like, I hate going to bed. This is the perfect opportunity to start incorporating some really relaxing and very calming and non-stimulating bedtime rituals. The first thing I would suggest would be doing regular, maybe nightly for a while, and then every other night, Epsom salt baths. Okay, so getting that magnesium, the magnesium sulfate that you absorb through your skin in an Epsom salt bath is very good for just calming the muscles, toning down the nervous system that again is firing and it's wired and it's wild and it's sending all these signals in places where they don't belong. And that's part of what's creating both the physical anxiety and the mental and emotional anxiety in the body, is this stress buildup in the physical self. Okay, so an Epsom salt bath is very, very wonderful to just kind of take everything down a notch. Everybody knows how good it feels to get out of the tub and you're all warm and you're relaxed and your muscles are relaxed. And this is a great way to set the stage for going to bed and having this really peaceful ritual. You can also diffuse some essential oils. You may have a humidifier in your room or a diffuser. You can add some lavender. You can add some other kind of bedtime blends, like really gentle, maybe geranium or rose. A lot of the flower essential oils can be very calm and not too stimulating. You don't want to do something really intense like a tea tree or a eucalyptus, because that can also kind of like wake up the senses. Also citrus, you don't want to do that one, but just some of the more gentle essential oils. Look for like a bedtime blend that works perfectly in a diffuser, and that can be a great way just to kind of set the stage, tell your body, hey, it's time to start relaxing now. Turn off all of your devices by 9 p.m. So I have a saying, you want to be in the 10 p.m. bedtime club if you have any adrenal dysfunction, or if you're dealing with anxiety. It is not productive to your anxiety symptoms to sit and scroll through Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, rereading emails or texting, late at night. Not only does this blue light from devices disrupt melatonin, which you need for healthy mood and healthy sleep, but also it's stimulating, again, your adrenal and your stress hormones to set off those alarms. Your body's awake when you're looking at your phone, say after 10 p.m., and now your body thinks, well, I'm up, right? So next thing you know, you're organizing your sock drawer, and you don't want to be doing that. You want to be sending your body into la la land and getting that good night's sleep. Your best sleep is in the first few hours right after you fall asleep. Your first circadian cycle, first part of your circadian cycle, which is going to be your first rapid eye movement, first 3 hours of rapid eye movement, is going to be one of your best times to rest and digest, clear the slate, help the digestive system, help with detoxification. You don't want to miss that first cycle. So 10 p.m. bedtime club, really important. You may also find that you need to nap during the day. So this is another really important tip, which is if you're tired, rest. And it's hard if you're dealing with stress, if you're dealing with anxiety. Sometimes it's just easier to keep going, to keep moving, to keep working. But maybe what your body is really asking you is like, hey, a 15, 30-minute cat nap, maybe getting a little bit of, that oxytocin from a snuggle with a pet or one of your kiddos or maybe your spouse, or just giving yourself a nice juicy hug and curling in with a nice cozy blanket and pillow is what your body is actually really needing. The other thing is that if you're getting a chance to lay down during the day, you can practice some of the deep breathing skills that will help to calm your nervous system as well. So belly breathing in through the nose for about the count of 4 or 5, exhaling through the nose for about the count of 6 or 7, and feeling kind of this natural, flowing, oceanic, rhythmic breath through your body and focusing on that deep breathing can also help to reduce anxiety. We talk about all the time, hey, you're feeling stressed out, take a deep breath. I don't know why we often forget that we can apply this to our life. It doesn't have to be when we're preparing for a nap or bedtime. We can also do this when we are in our car or we're sitting at our desk at work, just doing some deep breaths, relaxing the diaphragm. It's very, very helpful. Okay, so I'm coming up to some of my final tips now. As far as it pertains to actual nutritional principles, here are some things that I want you to pay attention to. Make sure you're drinking enough water. You need to be drinking at least 1/2 of your body weight in ounces. This is a goal. So if you weigh 160 pounds, you should drink about 80 ounces of water per day or more. That's the minimum, right? I myself right now am trying to aim for 100 ounces of water every single day. It's challenging, but believe me, I always feel so much better when I'm fully hydrated. Your cells feel better, you're getting more nutrition into the cells, and everything is working as it should. You're also supporting that blood-brain barrier, right? And you're really helping to keep everything lubricated, keep toxins moving away from all of the delicate tissues in your brain and your body. And the hydration is really important, right? So that you can avoid a lot of the toxic overload that we get exposed to. So drink the water so it flushes everything that you don't want in your body out, and that can also help take some of the strain off of your thyroid and your adrenals. I already talked about eating protein and some healthy fats at every meal, but I also want to make sure that you are getting some of the kind of, we'll call them the feel-good hormone foods that can help to stimulate the production of more of the serotonin and melatonin, feel-good neurotransmitters. Those would be some foods like cherries, dark, bright, sweet cherries. Those can be really helpful. Also, walnuts are really good for helping to promote those particular neurotransmitters. Fish, cold water fatty fish, if you are an omnivore, is really great for starting that tryptophan to serotonin to melatonin pathway of neurotransmitters in your brain. And also yogurts and fermented food, kefir, coconut yogurt, all of the kind of fermented beverages like kombucha, those can also really help to stimulate healthy production of neurotransmitters. And last but not least, you want to take maybe a supplement that's going to help support your nervous system. I recommend a proper B complex vitamin. Okay, so B complex you can find mostly in your health food store. You want to make sure you're getting the methyl forms of B6, of B9, which is folate, and also of B12. And you may need to work with a qualified holistic nutrition practitioner like myself to understand your needs for B vitamins, but certainly B vitamins are so crucial to your nervous system health, your metabolism, your energy levels, and restoring all of kind of the healthy hormone balance in your body. One thing is true is that your body's adrenals need a lot of B5, which is pantothenic acid, and also vitamin C. So if you're taking a good B complex and you're eating lots of fresh fruits and vegetables and including some citrus foods and foods that are rich in vitamin C like kiwi and strawberries and spinach and bell peppers and things like that, you're going to be getting all of those cofactors for healthy adrenal function. Last but not least, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that one of the things that you can do to help restore your adrenals and reduce anxiety is to stop drinking caffeine and alcohol. I know sometimes, especially with anxiety, we're using alcohol to just kind of calm ourselves down at the end of the day. It's a great little, kind of like work is over, the relaxation time begins. For many, it's ritualistic, coffee in the morning, wine at night. But friends, I'm telling you that if you are dealing with anxiety, both of these substances are dysregulating the cortisol hormones, dysregulating your nervous system, and contributing to more of the imbalance in your hormones and neurotransmitters than they are actually helping you in the long run. I have other videos about both coffee and alcohol if you have Hashimoto, so you may want to check those out just for some other tips and information. But the thing is that ultimately, for your body, when you are dealing with anxiety, that oftentimes what you're doing isn't working, right? Hitting the gym too hard, never resting, not having a proper bedtime routine, not eating spaced and regular meals throughout the day, eating too many carbs, too much sugar, relying on stimulants like caffeine, relying on depressants like alcohol to get us through the day. We often can look at our own patterns and habits and behaviors and go, yep, I can see that a few of these things probably are driving up my anxiety. Time to let some of them go. Spend more time in kind of a nurturing mindset, a wellness mindset, a healing mindset, and you will start to get the benefits in your thyroid, your adrenals, your total body health, and most definitely in your mood and in all of the different neurotransmitters that help us to live happy, healthy lives. Thanks so much for watching my video today. I appreciate you being here. Subscribe if you're not already watching my channel on a regular basis. I put out a new video every Friday morning. So I'll see you next week. Take care.